pre-concept approval. Probably the two biggest projects associated with that are a football operations center that we will begin to talk about and move down the path for that project. That will be located around the indoor practice facility, so we'll centralize and locate all of our football operations. The other large project will be the rebuild of the basketball arena. I think that over the last few days since this has come forward from the board, the biggest question that I've received is, what is a rebuild? And a rebuild is much, much more than a renovation or a remodel. The roof will stay in place, the four walls will stay in place, and the concourse will stay in place, and pretty much everything else will be redone. The seating areas, the lighting, the video boards, all of that will be redone, reoriented, and made into a brand new facility. One of the things that we talked about was, if you stood at mid-court inside Little John Coliseum today and looked around and you stood at mid-court of the rebuilt facility, you will feel like you're in two different buildings. So that's really our goal, and we will begin the process of moving that forward as well. Another big project that's part of the pre-concept approval and working hand in glove with the campus is a movement of our academic enrichment areas. Vickery Hall has been a model for academic enrichment for our student athletes since it opened in the early 1990s. We now have an opportunity to partner with the university as they do a new dining and residential hall facility in the core of campus to add into that project a brand new academic enrichment center. So we think it's time, and it's a good place for partnership. Some of the other facilities that were noted in this pre-concept approval were a new tennis facility, as well as a letter winners building. Again, another partnership with the institution and the Madron Center to create some good quality flat space and good quality meeting space on campus. Our preliminary location for that is behind the south stands in that open area between there and Press Box Road. And the other project that we're looking at, and it will be a big one for us, will be an upgrade of the premium seating areas inside Memorial Stadium. Again, the late Bill McClellan was a visionary as he moved forward a number of years ago in building those suites. It's now time for us to take that next step and make them into suites that our clientele are looking to have in that type of a seating, premium seating area. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where we are. In the meantime, we're doing some what we call impact projects. In this building, we're redoing some of our recruiting areas, and in the spring, we'll redo the locker room area here in the West Zone. We have also rebuilt next to the practice fields a Field 5 area that's up and operational right now. Our golf practice facility is having a hitting bay expanded into it, and graphics inside the indoor facility were also recently placed there. So that's kind of the long and short of it. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to look at some of the videos that were associated with it. But with that, I'll answer any questions.
Dan, is there any consideration for with the new football operations package moving over there to including residents, a dormitory type football?
No. There's NCAA rules are quite clear that any residential facility has to be inhabited by 50% non-athletes, and the residence halls here on campus are moving forward with a number of their buildings. We're going to allow them to do that, but as I said, partner with them at the academic facility as part of the new residential area, but not over in the football operations area.
So there will be at least a partial athletic residence somewhere on campus? No.
We have our student athletes in residence at various spots on campus that will continue.
Can you elaborate on the facility trust that you spoke of? And also, is there any kind of general early idea of how much debt you expect to incur?
We're going through right now some cost estimates as to where we will land on the debt scale. Currently, Clemson Athletics has a statutory limit of $200 million worth of debt, and that was established by the state legislature. As we sit today, Clemson has $25 million worth of debt. So we're, as you can tell, way under that statutory limit. The Clemson Athletic Facility Trust is really just a vehicle for us to park monies, allow it to be invested by the Clemson University Foundation, allow it to grow, and then we can take some of those monies on an annual basis to help augment the payments of debt service for these facilities. So the Clemson Athletics Trust, Athletics Facility Trust, is really just a vehicle, a savings vehicle.
You had the experience with rebuilding the arena at Georgia Tech. How much does that influence what you decide to do with Little John? How much do you use that as a model going forward?
Well, I don't know that we would use it as a model, but I was comfortable with it, having just gone through that in Atlanta. I know that there are some really interesting twists and turns that occur when you take on a massive rebuild there. But I think the building lends itself to that. The campus is, where it sits on campus is an outstanding location. It's all in the heart of our athletic district. So in the final analysis, rebuilding the arena was the right call for Clemson, and we're excited about moving forward.
To be clear, the operations facility would have weight room, training room, equipment,
Right.
all that stuff that's listed there.
Yes, sir.
And then, is there a timetable? I know on the original pre-concept approval on when construction would begin.
Well, one of the great things is the football program right now is in a very good facility. We're all sitting in it, and it's working, and it is the urgency is not there. But as we move forward and seeing what's next within keeping our football program at the elite level, this was the next step to kind of consolidate all of that, which is why we're going to take this process, study it, make sure we do the right things associated with the football program moving forward. And it was Dabo and I think Dabo last week at his press conference said, it kind of started out as a conversation between the two of us, and it really did. Looking at where we needed to go next was that consolidation, and that's the best place for it. We'll take our time moving through there and make it a great project.
Do you have an idea on the timetable of the Little John project? I know there was some talk of they would be displaced one season if things go well. I mean, when do you think that would actually happen?
If everything went well, and again, this is my first foray into dealing with a lot of these large projects within the state of South Carolina, our target date today would be playing in the new facility in the fall of 2016, which would mean that we would be displaced for a year, the year prior to that. But there's a lot of things that we have to get done before we can really put that date into concrete.
Anybody got anything else?
So the year that the basketball teams would be displaced would be the year before, I guess.
Okay, 15-16.
Yeah.
That'd be 15-16, and we're looking at various alternatives. One of the alternatives certainly is in the Greenville area to play the games there, which would be not a bad thing for Clemson, and as we are branding ACC basketball and Clemson basketball in the upstate area, to be able to have some great home games in the arena that's in downtown Greenville, I think would be a real positive for us. We'll have some marketing challenges associated with it, but I think we look forward to that, and hopefully we'll be able to bring some people back here to Clemson whenever the building is complete and ready to go for operation here on campus.
Anything further with the Bon Secours Wellness Center, just about arranging?
We'll begin our conversations with them. I know that our office has already started to do that, made contact with them. We'll have to work with the Atlantic Coast Conference. That is one of the real interesting parts, and having done this in Atlanta, one of the more difficult pieces was making sure the Atlantic Coast Conference and the schools were on board with playing at a different arena and how to schedule those through other events that arena already had, and in that case, Phillips Arena already had booked. So it was Carl Hicks and the folks at the Atlantic Coast Conference did a great job in helping make that happen.
Would you consider playing the big games in Greenville, maybe the smaller games down at the Anderson Civic Center?
Not sure yet. I think we want to, balance out a consistency factor. Our women's basketball program will also need a home during that time period, so we will look to maintain a really good balance associated with that.
Other than integrating the academic center into the core campus project, I mean, what do you see as in terms of enhancements? What will this give you that you don't have now in the area of academic support?
I think from the standpoint of moving it into the campus, that's still a plus. That's what's important here at Clemson, is to have our student athletes integrated into the student body. I think as you look at the building, Vickery Hall, there's not a lot of room for enhancement or remodel or rebuild associated with that particular building. So as we were looking at that and what the next step is for Vickery, the opportunity for us to partner with the campus on this brand new development came into the forefront. So that's the direction that we decided to go. I mean, an academic center has the same basic tools and facilities, and each one of this will be newer. I think it'll have the right technology associated with it for today's student athletes, and we look at it as a step forward for the next 25 years. Related to academic support for our student athletes. One other thing I need to mention as it relates to the rebuild of the Coliseum, there are certain goals that we have associated with it. Fan comfort, just having a great experience in going to a Clemson basketball game. But one of the things that we're going to pay special attention to in this rebuild is connectivity, so that people and students especially who come to the games will have the ability to be connected through their wireless devices. At a lot of older facilities, sometimes that's a challenge. And we want to make sure that as we move through this process, that is very, very high on our list, making sure that connectivity works, it is enhanced, and our students and our patrons who are at the game have the ability to connect wirelessly through that building to enhance their experience at the basketball game.
Is a museum on the back burner right now?
Well, I think as you look at all of the different dominoes, football moving out of here, the refilling of this building, the McFadden building may end up being a space that is open and available. And as you look at the opportunity for displaying Clemson memorabilia and the great history of Clemson athletics, that's a nice spot. Because it would be between the baseball building, the rebuilt arena, surrounded by parking on a football Saturday. That is that end domino of where we might put a museum when these projects all come to completion. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.